I'm a science teacher, not a reading teacher. This is what one middle school teacher told us when we asked for her to implement some reading strategies in her science classroom. But if we think about it, isn't the goal of science teachers to have their students think and talk and read and write like scientists? When we think about here in Texas, with our English language learners and economically challenged students, we know that they tend to struggle in areas of reading and science. We recently surveyed a group of teachers here in Texas in rural and remote areas, and they shared with us that their science students come in with sometimes low reading ability, they struggle in decoding words, low reading comprehension, and sometimes they come with limited science experiences or prior knowledge. When we think about how students learn to read, kindergarten, first and second grade, they're learning to read by decoding, sounding out words, reading sentences, and they often start reading narratives or stories with characters and settings and problems and solutions. But we see this shift at around third grade where students are now expected to read to learn. So they start to encounter different text structures. For example, in textbooks, maybe science textbooks, social studies textbooks, the text is organized in a different way. So maybe now they're reading about comparing two concepts, for example, living and non-living, or the text is structured around cause and effect. So maybe they're reading about interactions in a food web, and they're trying to find out what caused a population of organisms to decrease. So that text structure changes, and that's certainly a challenge for the students. Another challenge they face is a specialized science academic vocabulary. So a fifth grader may walk into a classroom and see the word volume and think, I know what volume means. That's how loud my TV is. Or my parents say, turn the volume down on your headphones. Well, when they read volume in science, it actually has a specific science meaning related to the area that an object takes up. So we have these multiple meaning words that sometimes challenges students' understanding. But the good news is that we can support teachers in integrating strategies to help their students when reading and working on literacy in science. And we can do that before, during, and after reading. So some before strategies have to do with previewing the reading selection, looking at text features. Okay, let's take a look at what we're reading today in the textbook. Here's our heading. Where's the subheading? Does anyone see a bold word or an italicized word? That must mean that word's important. Let's see, do we have any graphs or pictures or captions that help us better understand what we're reading about? So they're previewing, they're getting an idea of the concept they're going to read about and helping to set a purpose for their reading. Another great before reading strategy is previewing vocabulary or tricky words. So you can certainly go in and let's pronounce this word, let's clap out the syllables, let's read it fast, let's look at a student-friendly definition of what this word means, and that really helps set the student up for success. When they go in to read that word on their own, they're more likely to decode it and read it accurately. And the faster they're able to decode, that increases their fluency. And we know that fluency is a bridge to reading comprehension. When we think about during reading strategies, we can think about how are we going to keep students engaged as they're reading. So one great way to do that is to strategically partner students based on their reading ability. So we could take a high reader with a middle high reader, partner them together, they take turns reading paragraphs, they help each other with any tricky words, they can ask each other comprehension questions, call attention to any images or data that help supports what they're reading, and they can reread the passage together. And then when we think about after reading strategies, certainly the teacher wants to check comprehension. Did the students understand what they read? So the teacher can ask comprehension questions and expect the student to go back and provide text evidence. Oh, I found this answer in paragraph 3, or I found clues to this answer in paragraphs 4 and 5. So they're providing that text evidence. Another great after reading strategy is to have students utilize graphic organizers. So they can take what they've learned, what they read, and summarize it or organize it in this graphic organizer to help them see connections between concepts. So these are some of the before, during, and after reading strategies that we can support teachers with. We know reading is a fundamental piece, a fundamental part of science achievement. And we can certainly provide ongoing professional development, in person or virtual. We can provide real-time coaching to give feedback to those teachers while they're in the classroom. And we can equip teachers with the tools that they need to help support their students when they're reading in science.